Hi, this is Mel. I hope all of you are doing awesome. Today we're going to do a video about food. So I'll talk about ASMR food. So food is something we are eating for like thousands of years. People been eating for thousands of years. But food has many things attached to it, and food as we consider in today's world is just for in order to live human has to eat, but which has some truth to it and not all of it is true. So I'm going to talk about different stories, and it's real stories, to just for you to judge what it is right or not. So, as you know, for thousands and thousands of years, people been hunting, gathering, eating. But when all it started, on that time, people used to hunt and gather the whole day, and then nighttime they would eat whatever they can find during the daytime. But this eating was done before dark. See, at the very beginning, there was no electricity, there was no light, so people would hunt and gather the leaves or killing animals, whatever they could find. So what weren't there was no electricity, so people couldn't cook at night, and there was no gas oven, so they used to cook outdoors. And then there was none of these things like vitamin, minerals, all this thing we loaded up today. Whatever they found, they cook it and eat it, and there was no spices or there were no um, our modern processed oil. There was none of those, so they just cook the meat on the fire with this natural fat what came out the meat, and whatever they could find, leaves or whatever grew. And then slowly they learned to grow food. They started growing food, but it wasn't even huge amount of grain or anything. And slowly they started. So that time, if you see, people were very lean, thin, and very energetic. There weren't much diseases back then. Nobody knew the name of the diseases if they did have it. So then, as the modern technology developed, things developed, people started growing food and all that. Then people started eating all kinds of food, and then food became a huge business. So then there came all kinds of junk food, packaged foods. It's all became like a huge business for people to make money. And then, as we see in TV, and whatever we see, we want to eat that. So there were in Ayurveda, there was a, a general talk, like a saying that a person who eats one meal a day, like the one we call OMAD. So most of the people back then actually ate one meal a day, and this one meal a day people were called yogi because they ate one meal a day before the sundown. So their digestion process was very good because their body was all rested and ready to digest food, and then they went to bed. And this their energies, all the energies. So we were believed that food gives a lot of energies, but in order to digest food, we need a lot of energy. So since the yogis ate one meal a day, they used up the rest of their energy, which contributed to their spiritual journey and learning, and became very intuitive, and started doing a lot of prayer, meditation, chanting, and higher, like achieving higher divinity, supreme power, superpower by eating only one vegetarian meal a day. And then there were class of people who ate 2 meals a day, and they were called bhogi because bhogi means one who wants to enjoy everything in life. So they ate 2 meals a day, lunch and dinner. And they eat dinner quite late. Late means 9 or 10. So they had developed some diseases due to eating late, not so much though. And then there's a called Rogi. Rogi means a person who has disease, some kind of diseases in the body, and those are the person eating 3 meals a day. By eating 3 meals a day, they will keep eating on top of one meal after another, and when they haven't even digested the one they ate previously. Now, do keep in mind, we're talking about the time when people actually grow food and did a lot of physical exercise and work. So even that time, Ayurveda called eating 3 meals a day is rogi, means a person with diseases. But now, when people are spending most of their time sitting down in front of these devices called computers and cell phones, so they have hardly any exercises. So even with that, now not only 3 meals, then they go about every 2 hour meal, every 1 hour meal, munching on. So what happens is not only that they lost the higher consciousness, divinity, intuitions, intelligence, all these things, but at the same time their bodies are full of diseases because they eating so many meals, and their digestive system is so bad. There's the metabolism. So there's a serious havoc and body, and they don't have any spiritual growth or any intellectual growth or any even intuition. So this is according to the Ayurveda. Now there are some yogis who lived in very sacred places, and they live on air, called breatharian. Now these yogis believe that we do get energies from food, water, fire, air, sunlight, and earth. So these yogis, there are some yogis who live in nature. Now our bodies are created with these elements, so they do incorporate these elements into our body. So they live in nature, they grow food in nature, and they I have noticed breatharians, one thing is they always shower like 2 showers a day. I guess when they shower, they do get a little bit of water with that shower water, but they do not drink water or eat food. But what they do is they live outdoors a lot, so they get a lot of energy from sunshine, air, sky, and they are connected with the earth. They usually sit on the earth and pray and meditate and be in nature, so they get a lot of energy from nature. Now their bodies are extremely healthy and very well built. You can say could be like zero fat in the body. And these people, some of them haven't eaten for 10 years, but how do they survive not eating for 10 years? No food, no water. Now, there are humans who lived many years, 700, 1800 years, and they live in the forest, dense forest, and they develop superpower like superhuman beings, and which isn't just a story. This is a true events which took place many years ago, and these yogis really don't come out and advertise themselves that we did this, because there's a belief that they do not talk about their achievements, or the achievements will go away. And there's a reason for it. Like, they're not after money or fame or anything. They are after to meet the higher divinity, to meet their true self, to meet God and their creator. So for that, they do lots of yoga, meditation, mostly the breath work, pranayama, and also they live in deep forest where they can meditate for many hours. And as they chant some mantras and do some rituals, then they do become very powerful over time, because just what we seeing from our senses, our eyes, is not all there. There's many things is there. We're seeing only one dimension. There's so many other dimensions that we live on the same time. So as they have increased their awareness by eating very less or not eating, and putting the body through serious discipline and exercising and breath work and mind work, and they have developed super power, super senses, so they can perceive far away from, not something which regular people can see. They can perceive more far away things, other dimension things. They can hear some special sounds, and they can see some special things. And that happens with very prolonged fasting. Now, it is not hallucination or any mental disorders. These are their superpowers which they developed over time, and they became super powerful, and they could make rain happen, sunshine happen, or any other things happen. Now, as they spiritually grow, they develop power to whatever they say will come true, and they develop power to whatever they curse that come true, and they develop so they become very quiet. They do not talk that much because they observe and they learn, and slowly they become one with the creator. So there's a lot more to this world than we see or feel, and this humans can achieve a lot more than just eating, drinking, watching things on cell phone and TV. They have more and more superpower that they can do things, and their examples are many yogis in Himalayas, and many yogis in the side of the Ganga river or Jamuna river. And these yogis lived many years, and it's like Swami Shivananda. He lived till 128, 29 years, and even while his 129th birthday, he was exercising 2 hours a day, which is not jumping on a treadmill though. He was exercising, doing yoga, meditation, pranayama, and walking. And his diet used to be totally vegetarian diet. Rice, boiled rice, lentil soup, and some vegetables, and bitter melon boil, potato boil was almost every day present. boiled potatoes, boiled bitter melon, one green chili pepper, little bit of Himalayan pink salt, and tiny bit of oil, just a pinch of oil. Usually yogis use ghee or mustard oil. They do not use any other processed oil. So he lived a very healthy life till the end, and he exercised daily, and always used to say that he lived a desire-free life. He also said that the reason for all the unhappiness were human desires to get things, do things, and that is the reason for all the sufferings as well, physical and mental sufferings for desires. So as you can see, the food is a huge thing, and as we see more videos on food, all kinds of foods, and people just munching and eating all day long, all kinds of food, that's kind of contributing to all kinds of diseases. Actual very healthy yogis eat only one or maximum 2 meals. Most of the yogis I have seen eaten a good one meal around 12 o'clock, but they cook the meal, a simple vegetarian meal, and then they offer the meal to the god, and then after that they take the meal. Once they offer it to the god and do prayer on it, so they bless their own food after offering to the god, and then they eat. And then nighttime they usually either drink water or drink some milk or some fruits, very light meal if they were hungry, but most of them ate only between the hours of 12 and 3 and no later than that. About 4 o'clock in the evening they stopped eating because their most of their time is spent doing cleaning in their prayer room, taking showers. So the yoga is a big thing, is taking showers, staying clean, physically and mental cleanliness. And another thing with yogis is a huge one, that is practicing abstinence from any kind of sexual thoughts or sexual behaviors. They do not get married, they do not get aroused, and they do not have sex or any kind of sexual thoughts, and they do not shed any semen. They believe that doing masturbation or shedding any semen or having sexual thoughts brought on to diseases and made their bodies and mind weak, so they stay away from it and they practice abstinence for their life. So that is one of the biggest thing, and that is called brahmacharya. And they also believe that yogis also advise people who are in schools and colleges, to the young generation, to stay while you're studying in school, colleges, stay brahmacharya, means do not think about sex, do not have sex, do not have girlfriends, boyfriends, all that, and just go through your education, school and college, and then get married, and then when you're supposed to have sex, and just for the sake of making babies, just like the animals do. So that's what they advise. But most of the yogis with superpowers practice brahmacharya, means total absence of the sexual behavior or thoughts. So and their bodies are usually extremely healthy, and they practice cooking. Another big thing about food in the yogis, they believe that they must cook their food themselves, because when they cook it with love, with God's prayer, and then they offer it to the God with saying God's prayer. Then they bless the food, and then they eat the food. That keeps them healthy physically and mentally. And they believe that if other peoples are cooking their food, people might be angry, disturbed, upset. So whatever emotions they're having, that will go in the food and make them sick. Now, which is kind of, in a way, really true, because you see, emotions are something we carrying while we are alive, and emotions are something we carrying after death. Because you see the haunted places, what do we see there? We see their emotions, because usually haunted places, the ghosts are either crying or laughing or angry, too much emotion. So emotions are carried after death. Now, even with their like, if you want to get something, law of attraction. So what do we need to attract things? Emotions. So emotion is so crucial for our life. Without emotions, nothing will happen. Just to attract things, just to get things, or do anything, we need emotions. Emotions are crucial part of our life. So when people with wrong emotions, anger, hate, jealousy, or just some maid who's extremely tired, don't want to do any work, very tired, and they're cooking the food with anger. Now you eat that food is toxic. You're going to get sick. So food, a long time ago, it was believed, it was practiced. In my grandma's time, it was practiced that the women got up early in the morning, and then they went take a good shower. After they took the shower, then they went to do prayer. After they prayed, they came to the kitchen and they prayed to the kitchen, and then they cook a food with love and kindness for their family and gave the food, and that food kept them healthy. But if any day the woman was going through her period, and in that time other people in the home cooked the food because they were very tired, and during the period they were not allowed to go in the kitchen because, see, they were emotional, and they would be crying or angry or sad because the hormones are really out of the whack. So they were not allowed to cook the food because their emotions will go into the food and make people sick, upset stomach or sickness. So there were a lot of things which people twisted, bended, changed as they started getting educated, going outside, working. So they had to change all these rules. But is all the change for the goodness of the people? Obviously not, because a lot of the changes people did for their convenience. But the bottom line is, what the rules were made thousands of years ago by the yogis were really for their own best interest, for the families and for the people. But all this food talk came from I watched something about a yogi where he lived many years, 120 years old, but lived on nothing, no water, no food, only air. So that led me to the looking around, researching all about food and how it affects people. So I decided to give my 2 cents, and you can just watch and research yourself. But the way we're led to believe that we need food every 2 hours, every 3 hours, but actually creates more indigestion, more problem. Yes, there are people who has health issues and they need to be eating every 2 hours, but as our body continuously digests the food as like a machine, then it doesn't get to do any other things like intuitions, higher thinking, intellectual abilities, connecting with the supreme, higher divine, all these things. It doesn't get to do because it is continuously too busy digesting food and And human body is also very tired because it has to expend a lot of amount of energy to digest that food, so that makes it even harder. So this was a little video about food and how it affects us. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I will see you with many more. Thank you. Good night. Sweet dreams.